Implement practices into your life that you want to practice every single day to reinforce that feeling of peace, to reinforce that feeling of happiness, to reinforce that feeling of joy. Because the more joyful you are, the more happy you are, the more you can release, and the deeper you can go into yourself and release those different layers and layers and layers. And the more you release, the easier it gets to feel bliss, to feel joy, to feel happiness. And the more you can sustain that state, and the more you sustain that state, the more you attract similar frequency into life. The more you attract life events that will reinforce that feeling of joy and happiness, and so on and so forth. So that's the beauty of the process of healing. Hello everyone. It's been a little while. This is Kevlan. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope you're holding on the light wherever you are right now, and you are inspiring other people to do the same. It's been pretty intense lately. Lots of energies, lots of solar flares, lots of solar wind, lots of northern lights where I am in Canada. So lots of transformation from the inside out, whether it's at the individual level, the collective level. So I hope everybody is able to navigate through these intense times. Today I wanted to make a little video regarding, or at least being more practical in this video, where I want to provide, what I've done in my journey and what you could do, what you could implement in your life in order to start healing yourself, starting to change yourself and align with your authentic self and align with the life you want to experience. So I'm going to be sharing those 5 different aspects on how this journey started with me and what I have done, what I have implemented, what I'm doing every single day in order to heal myself from the inside out and go through this healing journey so that I can become the person I am. Really, I'm at the soul level, and I can become this person to the world. So let's get right into it. So now, as I said, I want to share 5 different things or 5 different ways I've implemented into my life in order to heal myself. And this really started in 2021, like really intensively. Things were starting, I started earlier for me with my healing, but 2021 was really being a very important year for me, because that's really when I had this inner calling to really prioritize my healing. So I would say, wherever you are right now in your life, whether you are going through a difficult time, whether you are having good life but you want to go to the next level, whether you want to change something in your life, you want to align with your authentic self, wherever you are, it starts with an intention. That's the number one thing, and that's how it started with me, is having this intention that healing becomes my priority. I want to be very committed to it, and this is my priority today. I understand that we all have busy lives, and with kids and with work, with chores and everything we have to do in this world, in this society. But if you don't have this inner desire to heal and to commit to healing, then it's not going to last. It's not going to be sustainable. You don't want to follow someone that will tell you, hey, you need to heal now, and then have a trend, because again, the trend does not come from your inner, but it's going to come from something external. So if you really want to start this healing journey, you have to ask yourself, why do you want to do this? Why is it right now that you really want to commit and prioritize your healing so that you can become whatever you desire? So that's really the number one, is really focusing on having this intention and really say, no matter what, because, healing is difficult. Healing is not for everyone. Healing is for, you need to have the courage, you need to be brave, you need to be ready to experience that healing journey, because it's going to be intense. And when it's intense, you're going to always going back to that intention that you set up and say, okay, I know why I'm doing this, and I'm going to continue to do it no matter what. I'm going to commit to my healing. I'm going to make sure I have the necessary time and necessary environment for me to really focus on my healing and focus inward. So that's really the number one. If you don't have that, no matter what you're going to try, it's not going to work. So It's really about yourself. It's really about having this desire, this inner calling, or really having this strong desire and setting this intention. Like, you know, sometimes at the end of the year, we have resolution for the coming year. And some people, they have like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Maybe you want to have this intention and say, you know, I want to focus. I want to heal myself. I want to free myself from the inside out, from all those conditioning, all those traumas, all those wounds, all those suffering, all those stuck emotions. And I want to free myself once and for all so that I can become my authentic self and I can show to the world who I really am without a mask. So that's the number one, is having this intention. So be honest with yourself wherever you are and really ask yourself, why do you want to do this? And are you ready to do this? Are you ready to commit? Are you ready to make it a priority? So that's number one. The number two is really starting to know yourself. And how do you start to know yourself? Starting to know yourself means starting to observe the unconscious part of yourself that you're not aware of yet. Because how can you heal if you don't know who you really are, if you don't know what signal, if you don't know what energy you're embodying every single day? So there's different way you can, help you know yourself, and in the eastern part of the world, I'm sure you've heard many stories about monks or about initiates, master, that they just sat with themselves in a meditative state just to learn about themselves. So that's, meditation to me is a very great tool to start to know yourself. Sit with yourself and listen to your thoughts. What thoughts are coming to you while you're closing your eyes and you're sitting still? What are the thoughts that are coming to you? What are the emotions that are coming to you when you are meditating, when you're trying to meditate? So that's really a great tool for that, is try to know yourself, try to understand, and try to observe the thought that you have every single day. And that's how it starts. When you start practicing this, and you won't have to close your eyes to observe your thoughts, and you will say, oh, I'm thinking about this, or I'm thinking about the future, or I'm thinking about, this, I'm stressed about this situation, or perhaps I'm still stuck about something that happened to me 2 years ago, a year ago, 10 years ago, whatever. That's how you're going to start observing your thoughts. You're not going to be in the thought anymore. You're going to be the one observing what you're thinking. And that's the first step to start to know yourself, to shed some light on the unconscious part of yourself, to start to be more conscious about what signal you keep sending every single day to the field. Because that's based on that, you're going to manifest and create and attract life events based on what you're sending. And if you don't know what you're sending, because obviously you are reacting instead of observing, then the first step is really to start to know yourself, to start really recognizing the thought patterns that you have, and really starting to have the conscious mind observing the unconscious part of yourself. And I do that every single day. I am very in a state where I'm getting very good at observing the unconscious part of myself. And sometimes I have a thought, or I'm reacting, and I see myself how I react. And I always look at it as, okay, what's the message for me? Why am I getting triggered now? What is the message for me? Why do I feel that way in that specific situation? What is the message for me? So I've really developed that skill set to really start to have the conscious mind observing the unconscious part of myself. And because of this, now I can acknowledge certain aspects of myself that are unconscious or were unconscious, but were really present and really part of myself that I want to change, and I want to override, I want to, modify, and I want to improve. So, but I try to practice meditation, or even sometimes walking meditation, and again, it's just to observe myself, observe my thoughts, and now I can do it even without meditating. When throughout my day, sometimes I see myself reacting. I'm never into the act of reaction. I'm always into the act of observation, and I see myself reacting. And if you react in a certain way, that's okay. There's nothing to be guilty about. If you want to feel angry or upset in a specific moment when something happened to you, that's fine. But you just want to know, and you just want to observe that, oh, I'm getting angry right now, and then you want to let it go. You want to feel that that anger and let it go. but at least you're not in it. You're outside of it, and you can see yourself going through the process. And now you can ask a question and acknowledge it and say, okay, why am I triggering? Why am I getting triggered? Why am I reacting like that? So that's really the number 2, is really starting to observe yourself, observe your thought patterns, and start to know yourself, start to know the unconscious part of yourself, because that's a healing journey. The healing journey is really starting to heal all the unconscious wounds and traumas and conditioning that we have, that we need to change so that we can live a life that we desire. Number 3 is really about starting to implement into your life different practices so that you can reinforce the feeling of joy, of happiness, of balance, of peace, and you want to practice that. For a lot of people, it's very easy to trigger this stress, emotion, and demand. You think of something that is stressful or give you like your fear, and then you can feel this anxiety just by thought alone. But it's very hard to trigger the emotion of peace or joy or happiness just by thought alone, because again, we've never been trained to do so. So what I've done into my life is really starting to implement different practices and create an environment outside of me that reminds me that I'm at peace, I'm happiness, or that helps me trigger that feeling of peace, of happiness, or joy every single day. So I like to walk in nature, for example, and I try to do it a regular thing, because that's where I really feel peace, when I just walk in nature. To me, nature is my doctor. Nature is medicine. I can get into a forest or in the mountains or on the beach or wherever it is, and I can just feel more present. I can feel more connected. I can feel more balanced and at peace and at ease. So that's one thing that you perhaps, if you like nature, you want to do it on a more regular basis. If you like journaling, start to write. If you see something that feels good, or sometimes you are in this observation and you observe yourself thinking or the thought patterns, just write them down. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? And just write them down. Just the act of writing is the act of releasing. It's the act of acknowledging. So that's a very important practice you can do. Also, is journaling and write whatever you have. Affirmation is beautiful, amazing, and I've been doing it every single day, trying to have some affirmation about myself. Whatever it is, I am happy, I am enough, I am joyful, I am abundant, I am freedom, whatever it is. But just and to be honest, even in my current environment, in my house, I just put those statements and affirmation pretty much everywhere, so that I keep reminding myself all of this. And the unconscious mind works with repetition. So the more you can repeat to yourself, you're powerful, you're joyful, the more you can access your unconscious, until you get to a point where you won't have to repeat it to yourself. You will be just in a state of, you're going to feel like that because you trained and you installed the program telling that you're free. So repetition is super important. That's why the more you can repeat it to yourself, the more you can read it, the more you can see it, the more, it will be easier, the easier it will get for you to feel that way and trigger that happiness within and override whatever you're going through, whatever you're feeling. Gratitude, amazing. Again, it's an amazing practice to really reinforce the healing process. Having this gratitude moments once, twice, whenever you want to do it during your day. But think of whatever you have right now that makes you happy. Whatever it's, maybe a roof on top of your head, maybe it's your kid, maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your vacation that is coming up, maybe it's your job, whatever it is, just think about that and just be in that emotion of gratitude and thankfulness about what you already have. And then sometimes when I go through those phases of expansion, those phases of contraction, so those phases of deep release, because I always say when you start your healing process, your healing journey, you're gonna go through some phases where you will have to feel the emotion to release it. So sometimes it's gonna be unpleasant emotion, perhaps attached to a trauma, but you will have to feel it to release it. And when we feel it, obviously we don't feel good. We feel very negative. We feel really drained. We feel it's very hard. And sometimes when I am in that position, because what I do is I do an activity that I really like or really give me presence. So I like to sing, and if I feel drained or if I feel overwhelmed with the emotion I'm processing, then I want to think of something else while my body can process it, and I'm gonna start to think to be more present and not focus on that emotion that will bring more negative thoughts and suffering and challenges into your life. So that's something you can do. It can be art, it can be writing, it can be singing, it can be whatever brings you that peace within and helps you process that emotion more easily. And then you have practices like getting a massage or getting things like that to really help create this balance. And the idea is really to implement practices into your life that you want to practice every single day to reinforce that feeling of peace, to reinforce that feeling of happiness, to reinforce that feeling of joy. Because the more joyful you are, the more happy you are, the more you can release and the deeper you can go into yourself and release those different layers and layers and layers. And the more you release, the easier it gets to feel bliss, to feel joy, to feel happiness. And the more you can sustain that state. And the more you sustain that state, the more you attract similar frequency into life. The more you attract life events that will reinforce that feeling of joy and happiness and so on and so forth. So that's the beauty of the process of healing. But at first you want to create and you want to implement some practices and create an environment to reinforce that feeling of peace and balance. So that's the number 3. Number 4 is what I've been doing also every single day and for years is sound and music. I love music. But I have been listening to very specific music for the last 4 years, 5 years that help me, like more high frequency music, sounds, everything is energy, everything is vibration, everything is sound. And you have music that can reinforce this feeling of contraction, this stress, this conditioning, this trauma, or you have music that can expand your heart, that can open your heart and expand yourself. So obviously, as you go through this process of healing, you want to listen to this type of music. And there is one artist that I really love. I love her. She's amazing. Her music, her voice is amazing. And that's really her purpose, is to really share this frequency, her voice, her heart with people to help them through their healing journey. I don't know if you've heard about her. It's Milan Moritz. You can find her on YouTube. She is pretty much everywhere. And yeah, she has amazing music, amazing high frequency healing energy, healing music that you can listen on a regular basis. She's not the only one. There is many of them, but you want to have music or even like sometimes songs, it can be lyrics, but that will reinforce that positive thinking, that reinforce that positive energy. I'm sure you've experienced sometimes when you wake up in the morning and you listen to a music when you're just waking up, and then you have this music that keeps in your mind all day, like throughout your day, just following that just because you listen to it in the morning. And sometimes the lyrics are not super transformative or are not super healing. It's quite the opposite. If you listen to mainstream music, mainstream songs, it's usually things that will keep you small. But you can do the same thing, but with music that will expand yourself, that will open your heart. And sometimes you're going to have a music in your head that will just remind you that how happy you are, or bliss, or light, or whatever. And you're going to keep that energy within. You're going to keep that energy throughout your day. So use that to your advantage. Music, healing, frequency is really magical, and you want to create and use that to help with your healing journey and to help open your heart and expand. Number 5 is nutrition or water you consume. I always say whatever you consume will consume you, and it's valid for obviously physical stuff like food or water, and it's also valid for what you listen and everything. But in the context of nutrition, I like to say whatever you consume will consume you. So if you consume really heavy food, if you consume really food full of chemicals, full of toxins, full of, you know, like heavy energy and low frequency energy, low frequency vibration, then is going to help you maintain that state of heaviness, of low frequency state that you're in. So you want to consume food that will just expand, that will help you get more light, get more life force, more energy, more, you know, vitality within, so that you can start to expand and your body can have more energy to process all those emotions, process all those things that it requires a lot of energy. So nutrition is important. And again, for me, when I look at myself, I had a phase where I went plant-based, and I'm not saying that's what you should do, I'm not saying that's for everyone, but for me it was a phase where I had to go plant-based, where I had to really start to eat more raw food. Or I was eating a lot of fruits, I was eating a lot of whole food, like vegetables and salads and things like that every single day, and it was just bringing more life within, bringing more light within, and it was really helping my journey, helping my healing journey to process those emotions. Because when you consume raw food, you're going to experience raw emotions. You know, the food has tendency to numb you, and especially if it's full of toxins, you're gonna feel more numb, you're gonna feel more, you know, sleep. And like, if when you start consuming more raw, you're gonna feel more raw, so you're gonna feel more like emotional, and that thing that you need to process. So you're really helping my journey. And I'm not fully plant-based, but I still try to consume, you know, whole, organic, fresh fruits, vegetables, salads on a regular basis, because it really gives me this vitality, this energy, this light within, and helping me process and go deeper and deeper. So super important. The water is the same. You know, if you don't have a spring near you, because I would say, you know, consuming water from nature is the best. It's the best healer. It's really helping. You know, we are 70% water, so the more alive you can consume water, the more alive you will feel within. But if you don't have a spring near you, maybe you have filters and things like that to really help you charge your water, or talk to your water, bless your water every single day before you drink it. You know, the thoughts, you can really change the frequency and whatever the water holds, and then when you're gonna drink it, you're gonna feel that energy within. So again, nutrition super important, water super important to really help you with your healing journey. And if you start to implement all those 5 different things I just mentioned, you're going to be well in your healing journey. You're going to be healing yourself. You're going to put your body in a homeostasis state that will have enough life force to really start going deeper and deeper and deeper, and removing all those layers deeper and deeper and deeper. And the final thought is, healing is not a sprint. You know, healing is a marathon. Healing takes years. It's a lifestyle. And healing is not about doing. Healing, it's about a state of being. You know, the more you can feel health, the more you can feel already healed, the more you can really attract this healing journey, this healing process, and you can manifest it externally. All the practices I've been telling you, it's not about doing them, it's doing them so that you can become the healing. You can reinforce all those high frequency emotion to become and be that healing. So that's not the practice itself is going to heal you, but the practice is going to make you, or is going to help you being in a state of healing. So that's really how I see it. So, you know, don't rush, take your time, but as soon as you start this process, you're gonna be in the overcoming process, and the overcoming process is a becoming process. So as soon as you start your healing journey, things are going to change for you. Things are going to change inside. Things are going to change outside of you. You're going to start attracting different people, different life experiences, and everything is going to change. So it's a process. Enjoy the process, and then you're going to be well on your way to feel yourself again, to be authentic, and there is no going back. When you start this journey, there is just no going back. and you're just looking forward to it. It's not for everyone. Again, it's you need to be brave to start this journey. You need to be to have courage, because it's difficult to face our own inner demons. It's difficult to face our own traumas, our own emotions, repressed emotions and conditionings and negative thought patterns that we have. But it's the most rewarding things we can do, because we can actually see changes happening as soon as we start this healing journey. So I wish that this will help you, as it has helped me in my whole healing journey, and I'm still in my healing journey. There is always a level up, but I've gone a long way. When I look at myself 5 years ago, I've gone a long way, and I feel so much more at peace now, so much more free, so much more abundant, so much more healthy, and so much more myself than ever before. So that's all I wish for you. If you want to have more knowledge or more information to really help you start this healing journey, or feel more committed to your healing journey, I invite you to check my book on Amazon, The Science of Breaking Free. I'll leave the link down below in the description. If you like this video, if you want me to share more contents that way, or if you want me to share different contents, please leave a comment down below. Smash the like button, share it with your friends and family. And for now, I'll see you in the next one.